Welcome back to the Beat 139. I'm Doc.
I'm Don Vito. How y'all doing?
Hey everybody, and I'm Callie.
All right. So we want to welcome our first guest tonight. Her name is Rolonda Watts. She's an actress, a comedian, producer. She does a lot. Voice artist, speaker, author. Known for her syndicate talk show, Rolonda Watts is in the building. How you doing, Rolonda? Hello, lady.
Fantastic.
It's so
Nice to be up here in New York, in Harlem,
and nice to have you.
Right.
where I started out,
That's
where
right.
I grew up before y'all was even born.
You ain't lying about that. But let me say something. I just want to say, in the Beat 139 family, want to say happy 60th birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, look, 60.
Thank you.
It's 60 right here, so you know, black don't crack.
Good black.
Good black, quality black. So give us some background on yourself. A lot of these, we got a lot of young people in the audience, and just tell them all about Rolonda. Rolonda, so you from Harlem, and
You want me to tell you everything?
now we
No,
don't
tell the audience.
You want my
Just
bio?
tell the audience.
Tell
Just
my
to
bio?
you tell
Well,
it.
I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
There we go.
A little girl who got salamanders out the creek. Grew up in the woods.
Salamander.
And I always had the gift of gab. I always liked to talk. I was talking at 11 months in full sentences, and always had the gift of gab. And I think that has propelled me throughout my entire life. Being able to ask questions, being able to say what I felt, and that was at a time when there wasn't no freedom of speech. Well, there's always freedom of speech, but not the way we know it today.
Right.
But you had to be smart, you had to be quick, you had to know what you're going to talk about instead of just running your mouth. All that led into a great talk show, which most people know me for. Right. But before that, I was an investigative news reporter in New York City for many years for WNBC, WABC. Before that, I was with New Jersey Network. Back before, and you told us to turn this stuff off, and here we go. Long before, back when I started the television business, there were only 3 networks. There was ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Right.
There was no MTV. There was no
VH1.
CNN. There were 3 networks. Now you have 3,000.
Right.
But there were only 3. And so for me to be a little girl from North Carolina, to dream of being on television when there was nobody who looked like me on television, nobody who sounded like me on television, but I knew I had to be on television, I would just say that was part of my trajectory. But it also says that a lot of times we believe in things that haven't been invented yet. So you have to believe in yourself. I don't know where you want me to go with this.
No, you.
I thought you were going to do the whole. I thought you were going to do the whole intro, and then I just come and answer questions.
No,
You want me to get my whole bio?
No, we're gonna get
Damn.
we're gonna get to all that, but it's important that
Shit.
you know what I'm saying. You explain to the people who probably don't know. You give them your information, so
Yeah. But I grew up in North Carolina, and I always had the gift of gab, which led me to an internationally syndicated talk show. But before that, I was, to be honest with you, I always wanted to be an actor. And I went to Spelman College, majored in theater arts. And back in the 1970s, when I was in school, I graduated in 80. So there was no Cosby Show yet. Spike Lee was my classmate. He hadn't created. So there were no black people on TV, except Soul Train.
Right.
And I didn't sing and dance. There were no black people on Broadway unless you sang and danced.
Right.
And so there was nowhere to go. So thank God I had a backup plan. And I fell in love with journalism because in my talkedness, I learned how to tell stories. And so I ended up doing a lot of things in the journalism world. I was on New Jersey Network. That was back in the day when New Jersey didn't even have they didn't even have a network television network over there. So public TV covered the state of New Jersey back in that day. Yeah. And that put me in the attention of New York. And I worked for New Jersey Network, WNBC, WABC, where I was an investigative news reporter. This was back in the 80s, before many of you were even born. But this was back when Gotti was taking over, when the mobsters were big. Nobody was talking about AIDS. Nobody was talking about child molestation. Nobody was talking about nothing that they're dealing with now. And I was one of the teams that put those things in the news first and foremost.
Mm.
So I would say I was the first person who did this, the story on hip hop.
Right.
You know, this was back in a day that everything you guys know, we were discovering so the people shall know. And that is the motto of journalism, so the people shall know. After journalism, I went on to do my own talk show, Rolonda. And then after that, I wanted to tell stories in a different way. And moved to Hollywood, where I've been a producer. I've written a novel called Destiny Lingers, which is an interracial love story. Because see, all the young people, y'all can date anybody y'all want. You can date black, white, Indonesian, LMNOP, LGBTQ, you did whatever. Back in my day, you'd be killed if you were dating somebody that didn't look like you.
Yeah.
And so my novel, since I'm 60, so we're one of the last generations that drank colored water. And I don't mean Gatorade, Kool-Aid. I mean, where they said colored, you drink over there, and the white people, you know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine y'all hanging out with your booze, right? And then you gotta go get a drink of water. Y'all all tired, hot up in here, it's 100-degree weather in New York City. Let's go get us a glass of water. Let's go get some water. Go get us a sandwich or something.
Right.
But you can't go with your white friends. The white people drink at that fountain, and your ass drink over there at that fountain. And trust me, they eat the same fountains. This was the life I grew up. So I wanted my novel to talk about those kinds of things. And then I went on, and after like I said, I moved to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, to tell stories in an entirely different way than news. And I wrote that novel to talk about racial divide in America, and also that love conquers all. It's called Destiny Lingers. It's an interracial love story. Dr. Maya Angelou endorsed it. It's good stuff. And the audio, for y'all who don't like to read books, shame on you. I'm gonna have the audio version coming out for y'all. But anyway, I went to Los Angeles, and I've done everything. Most of y'all might remember from Sister Sister. I was Vivica on Sister Sister. I've done a lot of movies, have a lot of movies coming out. And now have moved back to New York with a whole new career in comedy, stand-up comedy. I just was a headliner at Caroline's on Broadway. Just did Yo Cannabis comedy TV show. See, y'all looking at me. Now y'all like it. See, y'all ain't paid no attention to me before. Y'all talk about some cannabis. Y'all like, yo, we like Auntie Ro now.
But my question is, how did you transition into being a comedian?
Yeah, how about that?
Well, you know something? I believe that life is all about transition.
Right.
You have to have, in this day and age, you have got to have more than one career. You know, those days of working one job for 30 years, getting a gold watch and a big pension, no, that doesn't exist. You have to have multiple streams of silent income. I want to make money when I'm asleep.
Right.
My money comes from royalties and residuals and all the things I do that keep making money.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And you also have to be creative. You know, at this point in my life, I have a lot to offer. I coach people who want to do voiceovers. I coach people who want to do comedy. I coach people who want to break into journalism, or, you know, there's a time to give back.
Right.
But you have to have so many different forms of income, because suppose all I did was report the news.
Right.
Suppose all I did was a talk show and my show was canceled. Then what the hell am I going to do?
That's true.
You better come up with something. And I believe that God gives us a treasure chest of gifts. Very few of us dig in it and see the glory of it all. And when he gives you those gifts, he gives you the batteries to go with it.
Right.
So if you are dumb, stupid, and delinquent, if you don't look into yourself and find your gift. Everybody's saying, Lord, man ain't gonna give me that job. How am I gonna get it? It's all out here. It's not out there. It's in here. This is where you live and survive and create so many different plethoras of, there's so much in you. And I think that we have been sold the stories down our throat that we only do one thing. No, you do 50 million things.
It's called a slavery mentality.
Come on now. Come on now.
So how would the transition come from doing the news to the
Comedy? To talk show? To the talk show? Well, quite honestly, I left the news and I was doing a talk show on a little network called Lifetime TV. And back in the day when there were only 3 networks, Lifetime was this little crazy network. They were like, it's for women? Who wants a network for women? This was back in 1980s, okay? No, actually, the end of the 80s, it's the 90s. And there was this women's network called Lifetime. And everybody's like, oh, please, ha, 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 please. Honey, let me tell you something. You see what Lifetime is today.
Yeah,
but I did a talk show there, and it was the first time talk shows were kind of coming out. It was a talk show called Attitudes, and it was canceled in 6 months. I'd given up my entire news career to move to take this chance on this talk show that was canceled, and I was like, what the hell? And I didn't know what to do. And so I traveled, like, because I had to, like, they had me, like, on hold to do another show. We're going to do another show for you. We're going to put you on hold to do another show. That never happened. Thank God, don't ever forget this. Somebody is always watching you. Somebody's always watching you. I didn't know Roger King, the man who discovered Oprah Winfrey, the man who put Inside Edition, the man who put Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, was watching me.
Wow.
He was watching me when I didn't get those jobs on WABC. He was watching me when my show didn't get picked up. And he was watching how I responded to that. Because in life, it's not what happens to you. It's how you respond to what happens to you. And I kept working hard. And I kept my nose to the ground. And I said, I am not going to get upset because I know whose I am. And I know who I really work for. So I have a tremendous amount of faith. And sure enough, Roger King came to me and says, you gonna do my talk show? He'd been asking me to do a talk show for 5 years. This is the man who does Oprah Winfrey. And I was like, I'm a journalist, I don't do talk shows. And plus you already have Oprah Winfrey, and I know about the lynch theory. You're trying to pit us against each other. And he was like, no, but I need you to do this talk show. And so 5 years went by, and I had gotten into this situation with this other talk show that didn't come through, and he called me and says, you gonna do my talk show now? And you know what I said? Nope. Because you already got an Oprah. I know what you're trying to do. Nope. Not gonna do it. So he said, well, will you come? He said, well, will you come and do Inside Edition? So I went and did Inside Edition. I was an investigative news reporter, producer, traveling to Iceland, Washington, D.C., covering murders, alcoholism in Europe. I mean, fabulous. And then all of a sudden he was producing another talk show that was failing. And he came to me and said, listen, I've been asking you for 5 years. I need a favor from a friend. And when you get a favor from a friend, okay. What you want me to do? I need you to do this talk show. So I was doing Inside Edition. We'd walk across the hall and do the show, Rolonda. We didn't know what the hell the show was going to be.
So how did you balance out all the different careers that you were doing? Did you ever find yourself pulling in one direction where you had to be in another place at the same time?
No, because all these gifts are who I am.
Right.
I'm a talker. I'm a storyteller. I'm a journalist. I'm an actor. I'm a comedian. This is who I am. Talk about living your most authentic life. Look at me. I'm the most authentic mofo y'all gonna ever see in your life. And I'm so proud that I have gone through so many difficulties and things snatched from me that I had to search for another gift.
Right.
So I could live.
Right.
Look at me, children.
There you go.
I'm gonna stomp my foot. Come on now. Come on now. When you ain't got nothing else to reach for, you reach inside yourself. I had no idea how good a comedian I might be. I didn't know I might be a good producer or a good storyteller, a good author. Look at all those things. When I was your age, I had no idea how many things I would be today. Today, I'm 60 years old. Thank you last weekend. I'm 3 times the ages of you. So when you go through what you're going through, you have no idea what you're about to become. I didn't either. But I'm sitting on the glory and the Emmy Awards and the accolades and I'm known by one name. Rolonda. Because I had the courage to step out and give God's gift back. See, I believe that God gives you many gifts. And your gift back to God is what you do with them.
That's a fact.
And when I'm done and I leave this earth, they're going to say on my epitaph, all used up. Because I'm going to use all of them.
That's right.
So how long you been doing comedy?
About 3 or 4 years now.
Wow, that's like a weird, like I didn't know you do that. That's crazy.
Well, let me tell you something. I whispered in my friend Kim Cole's ear. You know, Kim, woo, 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 Kim.
Yeah.
I said, girl, I want to do stand-up comedy one day. She's like, okay. So she got married. I was one of her bridesmaids. They had the bridesmaids party. Of course, all the comedians there. Queen Latifah, Erica Alexander, all of them. And she said, I need you to get on stage because everybody's going to roast me and do some comedy. And I said, ooh, girl, you ain't going to put me up on there. No, I'm a talk show. I'm an internationally syndicated talk show. Blah, blah, blah. I ain't getting up there. She's like, you told me one time that you wanted to do this. And here's your opportunity. What are you going to do? All I need is 5 minutes of funny. I know you got 5 minutes of funny in you. I ain't got no choice. I got on that stage 17 minutes later. They were on the floor. There was nothing more powerful than the joy of making people laugh. That was like, I'd done a talk show. When I did my talk show, in between the commercials, I'd be out there doing stand-up comedy. But to be able to really make people laugh. Now in my talk shows, I changed laws, I changed minds, I changed hearts. That was we were doing some serious stuff there.
Right.
We were the first people who dealt with gay issues. We kept people from suicide. We got kids out of gangs. We were doing such good stuff that when the Jerry Springer era hit, they didn't need good stuff anymore. And that was viewers' decisions. You know, everybody talk about, we love all that, but y'all be watching some skank stuff. I love myself some Jerry Springer. We do different things. Jerry's a friend of mine. I love it. But we were doing different things, and that wasn't my style. You know, and I just decided I'll go do something else as opposed to doing that type of talk journalism.
Did you ever get booed on stage?
Never.
Can we get 2 minutes of funny?
What you want me to perform now?
2 minutes of funny, but people check Rolonda out and come to Caroline's and come support her.
Gotta go support Caroline.
Absolutely.
Oh, Lord. Well, I talk about all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Well, one of the things, I talk about stuff like dating at this age. Can you imagine me being on online dating? See, we met people on Earth. We didn't meet people up in cyberspace. And look, and I don't like it, but I be up there with everybody else. I'm looking for love like everybody else. I said, I've been looking for Mr. Right for so long, I've become the man I wanted to marry. And if you think about it, it's true, because I do all the stuff in my house I think a good man need to be doing, like paying the mortgage. I mean, I'm the one who takes me out on nice dinners and buys me a bottle of wine.
Right.
I'm the one who buys me delicious lingerie. I'm the one that takes me on vacation. I'm even the one who has great sex with myself. And you know why I have great sex with myself, brother? Because I listen. And I take my time. Just like a good man would do. See, y'all too young to know about all this stuff.
I'm not too young, but I understand where you're coming from.
He says, or I want to.
So you have got any interest doing another talk show?
You know, there's always interest in doing another talk show. I'm not quite sure. I don't know about the market right now. The market is ever changing.
Yeah.
I think there's always a place, especially now, to do the type of talk shows that we did. Because we did more like town hall meetings and where people got a chance to speak out. One of my concerns is that, you know, we watch talk TV today and we're so busy sitting on a couch watching a bunch of people talk to each other. Mm-hmm. It's like we're sitting there watching a party we haven't been invited to.
Right.
My thing is, invite America to the party and let's talk as a country, not as 4 people around a table. That's a very different way of producing, and I'm not saying that's wrong because I watch those shows too. But I personally would rather have you and you and you and all of us talking together to come to a conclusion that would leave America something to think about. My talk show used to have a motto, something worth talking about. Everybody talking about shit, but this is something worth talking about.
Exactly.
What's worth talking about that you hear in the daytime arena today? What changes your life? What makes you go out and say, wow, you know, I think a little differently about that today, or I'm going to do something different. I'm going to call to action. I'm going to do something differently about that. That's not saying anything's wrong with the things on television today, but I think that when you have an hour of power in any form of media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, I don't care what you're doing, make a positive difference on this earth.
Yes.
Listen, ain't nothing wrong with showing me how to do eyebrows. Look, Ain't nothing wrong with taking your skateboard, hopping across some steps. But I want more of that.
Message.
Yeah, that we have
Definitely.
something to do here. The world is in chaos right now. I think that's why it draws me to make people laugh. You ain't always got to save the world with it, but do something to make, when you leave that place and the people that you have listened to you, make them better, make them feel better, make them inspired to do something better. I just think too much of what's in the media today is self-gratification. I don't want to watch a bunch of people masturbate in front of me in every form of media just because I'm so great and I'm so pretty and look at my brows. No. What are we doing with this medium? How are we using the power of our international global existence? You know? So what if I pour water on your head and you act like a mermaid? What the fuck is that about? So my call to action is, with all the power you have at your fucking fingertips, what the fuck are you gonna do with it?
Amen.
Gotta go home.
Yeah. So
I'll go home.
Go
You
home.
feel
Go
social
hard or
media
go
is
home.
important to succeed in today?
Well, I think it's everything. I think if you don't do social media, and listen, you play hard or you go home.
Right.
And social media is all about marketing. It's about marketing. But you need to have a brand to market. And a brand isn't just, here I am, and I'm so cute. And here I am, and I'm so fat. I realize.
Yeah.
What is your brand?
Right.
What does it stand for?
Yeah.
My brand is I tell stories that I hope will change minds, change hearts, change laws, and make the world a better place when I leave here.
But all the shows that they took off the air was basically all the shows that gave a positive message. Like the shows that's still on now is like everybody.
So why did y'all let that happen?
This, that. And unfortunately, the generation that we live in right now that's what they're requesting for.
Well,
That's
my
what they're
question
looking
is,
for.
why did y'all let that happen?
How they let that happen?
Listen,
By
when you switch
parents
that
being younger.
listen, they let me tell you something. You call your girlfriend and say, I like cotton. You're going to have 50 million cotton commercials that are going to come up in your Facebook thread. All right? So it says, what the frick are you thinking about? What, you wonder why media has changed? Because your mind has or has not changed. The mediocrity you see in the media is the mediocrity in you. How dare you let this happen? Ralph Ellison was an invisible man. So you, me, could be seen. How dare you let this happen? You got motherfuckers tweaking and twerking when you need to be working. Come on now. I love myself some younger generation, but I am fucking frustrated.
It's pretty screwed up. It definitely is.
So my question that you might need to ask some of your friends, how and why did this happen? Sorry, I've been in the business 40 years. And every one of those 40 freaking years has been about so the people shall know. Not so you know about how I do my eyebrows and my hair. Oh. You self-loathing and self-centered mofos. I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to go here, but that's what I'm thinking. Because this is your media now, and that's not the way we did it. Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now. Wait, see how you put your baby head down? Come on to my YouTube channel. Let me tell you how I put my baby head down. Let me tell you how I think about this. Let me do the bubble boot. Let me twerk. Let me show. What the fuck is that doing for the world?
Not a damn thing. Right.
How did you let this happen? We've been holding it up for 40 years. Hey, I'm out. Peace out. Now we got eyebrow tweaking, ass twerking, Brazilian waxing.
So this is Rolonda Watts, the motivational speaker right here.
I don't know if I'm motivating, no, I might be tired, but I'm serious. I really mean that. I really,
That's
really
the
mean
truth,
that.
though. You right?
I mean to bring y'all down.
No,
But I'm
no,
out to give y'all
no,
something to
no.
think about. And you may not, you be like, Auntie, you too conservative. But I'm gonna tell you what, I don't think so.
It'll change one day. You know, it's just it has to be a lot of us that sticks together and go towards
Well,
that
first of
direction
all,
and show
it's-
that path. You know,
Yeah, first of all, it's awareness.
you know, so
Yeah, because we all
It's
get wrapped
definitely
up.
steps,
Listen, we
steps.
all get wrapped up in the hype.
mhm.
But then somebody's gonna step out and go like, you know what, that kind of makes sense. And somebody will make a new direction, and that's where there's open spaces for people to find their greatness. And I know I'm not the only person here. I'm 60 years old. I know they're 20-year-olds. My nephews and nieces are just as frustrated. I'm sure I'm talking to somebody right now who's saying, Auntie, I'm so glad you brought that up because I can't even relate to my peers. Talking about the stuff, listen, people thought we were crazy too back in the 80s, okay? I'm not even gonna lie. But I've never seen anything so like this time right now. And I think there's something to be done. And I think there's a lot of people I'm not a political person, but I think there's, you look at the stuff that's happening at the border, you look at the stuff that's happening in our lives, and there's so much more we can do. I mean, and I think everybody knows that. And I'm not going to sit here and candy coat stuff for you because y'all grown ass people. But you know what you need to do. And here's an opportunity for you to be a star and for you to go viral and for you to be a social media sensation because of doing something to make a difference for humanity. What will that be?
But see, the difference now is you could have your own platform.
That's right.
So you don't need, the big networks no more.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have them because, you got the financial backing, it comes with the exposure, you don't have to do as much work. But it's satisfying when you start from the bottom and you build it, then they come to you.
And I think you brought up an excellent point. I remember back, like I told you, I grew up in the media at a time where there were only 3 networks. And there were like only 2 black people in the entire network, each other. And I was one of them. But you know what? The beautiful thing is, and I tell people today, anything you dream about, there's no reason for you not to accomplish it because of social media. We had no opportunities like this.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's allowing even me, as we talked about at 60 years old,
Yeah.
to start new careers
Mhm.
online. I'm a social media beast, which is very unlike my generation.
It's not.
But I'm talking to my generation too.
Mhm.
This is the way you can create new jobs, multiple streams of media.
Exactly.
I mean, who says we can't be a YouTube sensation? Who says we can't go viral with some stuff? But at the same time, let's not forget, oh, so sorry, that was me. Let's not forget that, we also, to whom much is given, much is required.
Mhm.
And it's just not about talking to your YouTube group. It's about talking to the world. The beautiful thing about the internet is it allows us to be international immediately. Back in the day, you had to wait till you were syndicated. You were local.
Mhm.
Then you had to get syndicated, which meant the world.
Right.
Then that was about 3 people. Me, Oprah, and a couple other people.
See, I don't think the people really grasping what you're saying, and it's important. Like she said, it's 3,000 outlets right now. Back then, only 3. You know how hard that is?
3 networks.
3?
It's a lot of work. You think you're working
You
hard
can
now with social
imagine.
media. You
Look.
had to work 10 times as hard back then.
There was no ESPN. There was no MTV. It was ABC, NBC,
CBS.
and CBS, period.
That's it, yeah.
And those are bastions of white pillars. So we had to kick butt to get in those places, just so y'all can sit up here around some microphones and get heard. Look, every one of you motherfuckers sitting up in here, we kicked ass to make sure you're here. Remember Sue Simmons and
Yeah, Sue Simmons.
Roz
Roz
Abrams,
Abrams.
Chi Williams, everybody.
Heidi Chung.
Heidi Chung, all
Heidi
us
Chung.
minorities, we went up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Look, even Ernie Onassis
Ernie
with
Onassis.
his little Greek self.
Yeah, he's still around.
All of
Yeah.
us said that we
Yeah.
represented the minorities of
Yeah, he
those
did.
days, and that was 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So when we come up and we see black people, not everywhere, everywhere. I ain't never seen more black people on TV and
Yeah.
media. I know I had a part to do with that.
Yes, you did.
So I say what comes with that, I have to say my responsibility to that, and your responsibility, I would hope, is talk more about your eyebrows and your lashes. Do more than jump over something with a skateboard. Do something with whatever talent you bring to the table. Do something that leaves a marked difference on humanity. And maybe because I was very close with Dr. Maya Angelou, and that's what she taught me when I was a young girl, young woman your ages.
Mm-hmm.
That that your gifts make a difference, and it's just not to be splashed on making comedies on. And even though I do comedy, I'm still very much entrenched in making a difference. So I mean, even if I talk about some of my comedy deals with menopause, and I know that scares the hell out of y'all. I say, look, this way I explain. I said, young people, I know when I talk about menopause, it scares the hell out of y'all. I said, you may not have it. Hey, everybody, look, it scares that. Look. I say,
it's better for the man. Yeah, we're
look,
kids.
Listen. Well, one of the things that makes me popular is I can't get pregnant and I don't have a period, so I'm pretty popular among the young boys.
And that's what men want, because men don't have to worry about, oh man, it's that
Men
time of the
want
month.
people
They
going
know,
through
like when.
Now, look,
You don't
I
have to worry about
said,
that. If you book a vacation, you
No,
don't have to worry about
I-
that thing
look,
coming down and nothing.
no, let me tell you what I say. This is how y'all recognize menopause. You know when you call your mom and you go, Mom, and she goes, what the fuck do you want right now? That's menopause. Because it affects your attitude, it affects your bloated. I mean, so I talk about stuff like that.
Right.
Because that's one of the last taboo topics that people talk about. Nobody's talking about it. How dare we not talk about the most natural thing among women? Young women, I know you're looking at me scared. You look like you deer's caught in headlights. But let me tell you something. You hit 40, 50, you're going to say, Auntie Rose, thank you so much for telling me about this, because my mama never told me nothing about it. Because women don't talk about it. Nobody talks about women's stuff. And so I said, I'm going to use my comedy and bring it all out. So I use my comedy to talk about things that people don't talk about. I use my talk show to talk about things people don't talk about. I use my podcast, RolondaOnDemand.com, to talk about things people don't talk about.
Right.
I love to push the button. I love to change the atmosphere if it's going to elevate things. And if it doesn't, I will also have the power to shut it down.
There it is.
That's what we do.
So can you tell everybody where they can find you at?
You can find me at Rolonda Watts, ROLONDA. It's an O in the middle. Rolonda, not Rolanda. Rolonda Watts. At Rolonda Watts on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. And you can go to Rolonda.com, check out my website. And please subscribe to my podcast, RolondaOnDemand.com. I got every
Support and shit.
How long your podcast been running?
Let me tell you, I was doing podcasts long before people were even talking about podcasts. I've been doing podcasts for about 10 years. But I getting picked up. I got picked up by CBS. Now I'm on a business network. But I've talked to Maya Angelou. I've talked to Carol Burnett. I've talked to Judge Lynn Toller. I've talked to Greg Mathis about prison reform. I just had a dating show. I mean, I got stuff, every kind of stuff on there. Meditation, good stuff.
Right.
So check it out. Check it out for sure. I've got 3 films right now in post-production that are going to be coming out. One's a feature. The other 2, I think, are going to be in television, probably Lifetime. They're all thrillers. I don't know what it is about y'all. Y'all, this for the younger generation. Y'all love some thrillers. We're going to kill some people, and one of them's going to be me.
I'm gonna be on your show.
Come on, y'all come on.
I'm gonna be on.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely
Y'all
talk
coming
about
on my podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Can you tell everybody what podcast show you're on right now?
Rolonda. So, I was about to say RolondaOnDemand.com.
Tell
I'm
them one
on
more
the
time.
beat.
Yeah.
You want me to do I'm on the air with the beat 139.
139,
Don't
baby.
miss it.
That's right. Rolonda Watts,
I love
ladies
you,
and gentlemen.
Rolonda.
Rolonda Watts. Happy 60th, one more time.
Thank you. I know y'all didn't mean me to get that deep, but
No,
y'all
we
didn't
need
think.
that.
Y'all didn't think.
No,